All right, good afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. That'll open up for questions.
Does Rodgers kind of give you a new wrinkle every time you play him, or does it help that you guys play him twice a year since you've been here?
I wouldn't say that he gives us a new wrinkle every year. He's good at what he does. He's the best. He can run their whole offense from the line of scrimmage, and get him in the right run play, get him in the right pass play. He does a great job of reading coverages, and he has the ability to make you miss with his feet and get on the edge and make explosive plays down the field. So he's very tough to defend, and it'll be a tremendous challenge for us.
Given how many times you've faced him in your career, is it a matter of he's probably seen everything at this point, and is it more just like well-timed blitzes, well-timed pressures, anything like that? Like, how do you go about approaching what you're going to do for somebody who knows you as well as you know him?
Well, you got to do a great job of working on making him see what you want him to see, and then when the ball snapped, he's seeing something else, and he's got to figure it out as he starts to, drop back with the ball. And so that takes great teamwork between the secondary, the linebackers, and the front at times. So, this week in practice, we have to work really hard on that, because if he knows where you're going to line up, he knows where the coverage is, he knows where to go with the ball. And so what we have to do is find a way to make him have to read through that process after the ball is snapped, instead of him figuring it out before the ball is snapped. If you look at it, he snaps the ball later on the time clock than any quarterback. He lets it come down to 3 or 4 seconds because he's trying to wait and see it all, see the complete picture. So our guys have to be disciplined to make sure that we don't give away what we're trying to do.
Does that make it harder to get some of those pressures off the way that you guys could against Herbert, it seemed like? On
No,
Sunday?
if we do a good job of lining up how we want to line up and executing the pressure correctly, then we'll have success. And that's what we've done, in previous years against them. It just takes a lot of work and practice. And the guys have to go out and execute it well on game day, because if you don't, he's going to have a lot of success.
Are you generally pleased, though, over the years, how you've done against Rodgers? I mean, you guys are 6-4-1 against the Packers in your last 11. I mean, going back to 2015, I mean, are you generally pleased with how you've done
Yeah,
against
we've
them?
had some great games against them. I mean, we've had outstanding games against them. They've won some, we've won some. That's what happens when you play a good football team with a great quarterback. And hopefully we can go out there and play well on Sunday and give us a chance to win the game.
Andre, how did you guys down the stretch last year at Lambeau, with being so young and so beat up in the secondary? How did you juggle all of that rushing cover and just to get to the end of that game?
Well, it was tough. It was a tough week of practice last year that I remember, because we were signing guys off the street. We were really hurting the secondary, and to try to teach a guy that comes in not only what he's doing for the first time, but then try to be sophisticated too, was rough. And but the guys did a great job on that Sunday of going out and executing it. And we really had to slow down practice and make sure that they understood exactly where they were supposed to line up and where they were supposed to go when the ball is snapped and all those kind of things. So it was a tough week, but the guys did a great job.
What's going through your mind when Boyd goes down and Harris becomes the nickel and Metellus, but maybe his fourth snap on defense for the entire year?
Right.
Just go do your best.
Yeah, just go play. That's all you can do. You know what I mean? Just go play. There's no time to feel sorrow or to feel woe is me or whatever. You got to go. The game is going. Okay. Hey, if you're a boxer and your mouthpiece gets knocked out, you still got to keep swinging until the bell rings that you can pick it up, put it back in. That's what this is, So until there's zeros across the board, the next guy's got to go in and he's got to keep swinging. He's got to stand in there toe to toe, and that's just what this business is.
And Metellus probably couldn't have been in a better position on that touchdown. As soon as he came in, he was. Is that just Rodgers dropping it where?
Yeah, I mean he can put the ball wherever he wants it. I mean he has that ability to be able to do that, and sometimes he's going to make a play because of who he is. He can put the ball in places that most quarterbacks can't. So we have a great deal of respect for him and his talent, but we don't fear him. That's the difference, right? I mean, you got to respect his talent, you respect who he is, but you got to go in there and fight with him. So, that's what our guys have to do.
Speaking of that game last year, you guys came in 1-5 and got the upset victory. Does that just kind of show in this series? I mean, throw the records out the window and that kind of stuff? Or?
No, I really don't get into that part of it. It's just, you just got to go compete. I mean, you got, that game means a lot to both states. There's a great deal of history between both organizations, but each year is different. And you got to go in there and fight them and compete and fight till there's no time left on the clock.
Coach, how many times do you remember 1 week your team's on the field for 98 plays, and the next week is 55? How do you get those guys to live like that? I mean, that's just like night and day.
Well, first I thought Coach Dim did a great job last week of constructing the meetings in practice to get our guys back. I mean, that was a lot of plays that they played, and we had played three overtime games before that too, if I remember correctly. So I thought he did a great job during the week of structuring practice to take some of the wear and tear off the guys to try to get their legs back, to convince them that they needed to get in the training room and take care of their bodies, and that it was more of a mental week to know where you were supposed to go and what you were supposed to do. And I think that really helped us on Sunday play fast. I thought we didn't look like a team that had dead legs. And I think that's what you were worried about after playing that many plays. So I think, first of all, it goes back to that. And then I think, secondly, our players on all three phases did an outstanding job of buying in to the scheme, buying into the game plan, and just knowing that we were going to go in there and fight and compete for 60 minutes. And that's what they did. I think those two factors played a big part of no one seeing the wear and tear that we had on our bodies from playing 98 plays the week before.
You talk about getting sophisticated in some of the planning for Rodgers. Does it certainly help just from a player perspective to have Patrick Peterson maybe back this week in your secondary?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll see how the week goes. I mean, hopefully he can go, and hopefully Harry can go. Those are two guys that have played a lot of football and understand what you're trying to do, but we'll see how the week plays out on whether they can go or not.
When it comes to that sophistication, do you feel, because of the familiarity that Rodgers and you have with each other, an additional kind of need to throw in new wrinkles, design different pressure packages or whatever?
No, not really. I mean, even though you're trying to make sure that you don't give away what you're trying to do, in order to win, we still got to do what our guys can do best, right? So you can't throw everything out the window and come up with a whole new scheme, and your players can't go out there and execute it. You're setting yourself up for failure, right? So we still got to do what our guys do best in order to give us a chance to win the game. That's more important than disguising things and, coming up with this elaborate blitz. It comes down to us knowing who we are and what our guys can execute the best to give us the best chance to win the game.
I know, Andre, you didn't play as many plays this past week, but you didn't rotate with Willekes out at defensive end as much. If Willekes can't make it back, would you expect that you might not rotate as much again?
No, well, I really can't answer that question on Wednesday, because part of it counts on how the flow of the game's going too, right? Then it also counts on how, other guys practice during the week. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, how it plays out, and also what plays a part in that too is what kind of game is it? If it's a game that you got nickel out there a lot, you really don't rotate very much with your nickel group. So the thing that ends up happening, if you got a lot of nickel plays in there, the guys that are out there in nickel, their numbers really get up there. So all those things play a factor in it.
Eric Kendricks, he seemed to lift that defense up. I mean, kind of reminded me of Butkus and some great guys over the years that make guys around him, hey, get it going.
Yeah, he's that kind of player. He's that kind of player in the passing game, which is unique for a linebacker, that he has the ability to put his body in position to make plays down the field. Most linebackers are in that short intermediate area, but he can make plays on the ball, extend it down the field. He has a natural feel to make tackles in the run game, and that's why I work so hard with my interior guys to keep him free. It's easy for teams that tell their D linemen just rip row up the field and just go blow up a gap. Well, when you do that, you're going to get a big body on Eric Kendricks. Okay? If we keep Eric Kendricks free, he's going to make 12, 13, 14, 15 tackles. He has that natural instinct to be able to go do that. He makes us better. And so, that's the reason why we work real hard with our D tackles. Their number one job is to not let linemen leave the line of scrimmage so 54 can go make plays. And he does. So to me, he's a special talent.
Speaking of those interior guys, what's this been like on Michael Pierce, just to have to be out again and kind of having only played 4 games since he signed here?
Well, I think it's been hard on him. I mean, he wants to play really bad. It hurts him. But he's injured, so there's nothing he can do about it but go in and work every day to try to get healthy, But I know he's disappointed. I know it's hard on him, but, he can't control that he got injured. That's part of football. So hopefully he'll heal up here soon and we can get him back.
Larry, DJ's sack last year at the end of that game, that Packers game, seemed like he controlled he was able to circle back and get Rodgers because he controlled the tackle from the start. Was that just because he got to the outside shoulder before the tackle got to him, or just take me through that play of what you remember?
Well, he had an idea of what Aaron was going to do, and I'm not going to tell you that, right? I'm just going to tell you that part of it. He had an idea of what Aaron was going to do, and he made Aaron go where we wanted Aaron to go. And so that's why he was able to execute the sack.
Final 2 minutes, first half, second half. I know Zim was talking about condensing maybe a little bit there just to prevent giving up big plays. What does that look like as far as, preparing if a team's going to try to take a shot at the end of the first half and not giving up, a play like that? Like kind of the push and pull of, well, maybe it's less responsibility on the guys, but it might lead to a bigger play.
Well, I think it comes down to awareness. Especially for the guys on the back end, that it's the end of the half. Where do they have the ball, and are they willing to take a shot? So they've got the ball on their own 45 to our 45 area. They're willing to take a shot down the field. So, my awareness is, okay, if they throw a 10-yard out route, I'm going to rally up and make the tackle. It doesn't kill us, right? The thing I can't do is let him get behind me. So I think it's an awareness of the situation that you're in, and that the situation dictates how you play it more than how you would play it if it was just a regular second down play in the middle of the second quarter. And so sometimes as coaches, we got to keep pounding that into our players' head that, the situation of the game changes, how you would play certain plays. Because at that point, it's just about, hey, we don't want them to be able to flip the field. The clock's on our side. Don't let them flip the field before the half.
Something like that become even more prevalent this week. Like when Rodgers had 47 seconds last year, remember Zim said he didn't feel like he could rest at all in that situation, knowing that that's somebody who, even with no timeouts, could make something happen.
Oh, yeah, because of who he is. He can make a play. And he's got a big-time receiver. 17's the real deal. So he's got a guy that can go get it. He can throw it 50 yards down the field, and he can be covered, and he can go up and make a play and get the ball. So that makes a big difference, too.